So here's the central problem that I have to report as a complaint to the Health Commission and to my advocate. A specific complaint that I like to detail of how I've been treated and my rights have been abused, and abused towards a real complete apparatus of abuse that's systemic and systematic. Okay, so this is what I have to say, and I hope you're listening, because I'm actually feel like I'm wasting my breath. From my experience, every step, in every step, is once you walk through the door, you are labelled mentally ill, that you can't be cured. And from that point on, you're just lied to from that point on. And the waste of time that it is, it all is just delaying your efforts to prepare your case for a hearing which they never tell you about. They just, you have a hearing in 2 days. They just lie to you. They waste your time. They don't record anything, and it's abuse. They know what they're doing. They seek their own personal vested interests in the process the whole time, not the patient or the client's interests. They're not doing a thing to suit your interests. Let's get that straight. So once you get to the hearing, you're given little warning about. Your entire life is on the line. You are so unprepared and you're just speechless. And the reports that are submitted, you're not even given a chance before the hearing to fact check the reports. So what do you call that? From A to Z, what is that? What is that? Systemically and systematic abuse of rights. That's what's happened. That's what is happening. That's what's going to happen tomorrow and today and next week and next year. That's what's been going on the whole time. Do you think anyone in this process is going to call up the Health Commission to ask to be self-reviewed, to be reviewed and analysed in terms of their actions fall within the guidelines? Do you really think anyone here is going to call up the Health Commission and dob themselves in? No, they're not. No one's going to submit to review. Do you understand that? Do you think the doctor that I'm going to get into, I've got about 4 paragraphs, do you think the doctor, the way that he abuses people through interrogation, and he is abusing people, do you think he's going to call up the Health Commission and have a patient experience that he's been a part of and self-report himself and report himself about the outcome that he gets for patients and clients? Do you think he's ever going to get a case with a client and report himself to someone could look through it to make sure the patient had their rights intact? No, it's never going to happen. And I'll explain why. I'm just building up your building up your taste. All right, here we go. Prepare yourself. The whole time your complaints are not recorded or noted. The entire time. No one's recording anything. No one's taking notes. No one's recording the forced meetings. None of it. No, there's no audio recordings of anything. When you walk in the door, there's no independent record of what you've been told and what you've been told to expect. There's nothing. When you walk in the door, there's no independent record taken. So it's just fluff the whole time. So let me repeat myself. The whole time your complaints are not recorded or noted, there is nothing and no audio recordings. Also, imagine that being in custody and you're being interrogated in meetings by the officials and they don't record anything. Imagine that. Because when you're placed in custody, it's forced and they interrogate you and they don't record anything. Imagine that. You've had your freedom taken away and they don't record the questions they ask you. And how ludicrous they are. They wouldn't want want to self-report themselves to the Health Commission, would they? They wouldn't want to call up the Health Commission and have themselves reviewed, will they? In depth. They'll never call up at any time. They don't plan to, because they think they're so right, don't they? I'll continue. Also, the questions that are forced, it gets better. The questions that are forced upon you, you have no warning what they are, and you're purposely not given time, for example, a day to prepare. And when you can't answer on the spot the perfect answer, they say you've acted with the pressured speech, that your speech is tangential. That's what they say. Your speech is tangential. A geometry term. When you are bombarded with random questions that have no context and deep questions, subjective in nature, obviously people are going to stutter, literally stutter. They elucidate that fabricated response into a report to say you are incurable. Then the doctor just walks out of the room, thinking he has served the Mental Health Act and the community and society at large. It gets better. The truth is obvious. These doctors here know their questioning method is against clients' rights as a right to be respected. However, they just use these forceful techniques to present someone in a light as mentally ill. That's it. They're forcing techniques. It gets better. They take normal people, they use the technique, and they make them look mentally ill. And you can do it to anyone, and you can make anyone look like they're mentally ill through their techniques. It's abuse on the highest scale you could register. You can take a person, any normal person, use Dr. Matthew Lee's techniques and get the same result. This is straight out abuse of people, and they are breaking people emotionally when they are here to purposely make the evidence up as they go, to misuse the Mental Health Act as to serve society. The staff here instead use the Mental Health Act to serve themselves and their social club behaviour they exhibit when they carouse around each other. People scooped up here with no police report. Then they are battered with the most insulting, dissecting questions you have ever heard, and then they just look for a bad response. And of course, all responses are bad because they're looking to break you and your personality. Often questions with a pretext that something is wrong, that you are wrong. You're level with an accusations that you're not being well. They literally suck you in, have nothing on you, and start probing you to manufacture reports based on asking if you're okay and expecting perfect answers. How can anyone in their right mind answer the question if they're okay? It's a nothing question being used to hold people against their will. There is no right answer. Sorry. It's a nothing question. Are you okay? It's deep. How do you answer that? You're going to stumble. You're going to be tangential. You're going to stutter. And they use that because you can't respond that you're okay or not, because it's a deep question. You must be disordered in the mind. Oh, you're stuttering. You're disordered. You have an illness. It's mental illness. They're as slick as that. That's how slick they are. Let me continue. If you stumble when you respond, they say your speech is broken and you are a risk to the public, you're mentally disordered and ill, and when you either don't reply because it's a too existential question, or you just refuse to answer their forced questions, they make up the report anyway, providing that because you just didn't spill the beans on your own privacy and personal thoughts, that there just must be something wrong with you. So I make this report to the Health Commission, and so they can do their job, so they can listen. This problem that I've mentioned here is crucial. This is the chopping, the axe chopping the tree down. This is the polished and sharpened axe that's just cutting into a native tree that's illegal to cut down. This is as rich as it gets, as what I've explained. And why is it then they never call the Health Commission to ask for their caseload to be reviewed, sifted through, and comprehended in all the rights? Because if you take everyone's rights away, you just get people to admit that they're sick because you just mind control them. If you take all their rights away, I guess they'll just be whatever you tell them to be. Because I said before to the advocate, and I'll just mention again, the Mental Health Act wasn't set up to have rooms of people that think they can predict tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, next 100 years of these doctors that sit here and make up illnesses on people and predict that they can tell the future. It wasn't set up for these miscreants and these academic space cadets. It was set up usually to prevent people receiving criminal convictions. That's the history of the Mental Health Act. It really is to serve the community and to allow someone to be deemed temporarily mentally unfit or not of mind to evade criminal persecutions and to get someone out of a lot of trouble. That's the history. The Mental Health Act is to serve the community, not to have the community, the society, set up against society. It's not set up for someone who thinks they can predict the future, called Matthew Lees, the doctor here, one of the doctors here, and Eve Morrison and Matthew Lees. It's not set up for them, has nothing to do with for them. It's set up to serve the community. Now, I've been told, I'll let you know, the criteria 1, 2, 3. It's either mentally ill, harm to others, or harm to yourself. I'm neither of the one, I'm neither of the two, I'm neither of the three. I'm a distinction level student. Distinction level, right? Final year in a university degree, you get distinction, all right? So that's what I am. For many 15 years now, and I'm a well-trained, well-rehearsed improvisational guitarist. Okay, so I don't have an incurable illness of the mind at any time in my life. So it's just not true. Now, they've used these abuse of my rights for 4 to 5 weeks straight. And now they don't want to interrogate me anymore because they've already chewed me up and spat me out and made up their reports that I didn't answer them perfectly. You know, when I started telling them, I said, write down your questions and I'll get back to you tomorrow or the next day, but I won't be answering them. And Matthew Lee started running ahead with 2, 3, 4, 5 more questions like a rapid fire. I can't answer all the questions at once because I have to prepare a response. It's abuse. Because 5 questions at the same time is mentally abusing to me. It breaks the mind. He should know that. 1 question at a time. Establish 1 answer at a time. Because it's just too... He does it on purpose. They're overloading people with these dumb questions. And ever since then, it's like he doesn't want to talk to me now. I established, and I'll just say this and I'll pass it on. I established the last time I spoke to Matthew Lees, I said, look, I just established with my mother in the room present that I had not made any threatening claims during a gentleman's disagreement a month ago. My mother confirmed I didn't make any threatening claims. I said to Matthew Lee, the doctor, and the team, you just had proof now of a testimony of a witness, of someone who was there during this situation, this exchange, and now you're still deciding to hold me after a month, and you've just been told by a witness that I didn't threaten anyone. You're holding me in here saying they've threatened people for a month and then I'm going to kill them, and you just got told, and I took the time down, I took the date down, and he's just speechless. He's just sitting there like a really stupid person. So even when you tell them, when I have my mother there who's a witness to this, they took me in because they believe I threatened someone. Well, I just had a witness who said that I didn't threaten anyone. And I'm still here 2 weeks later, 2-3 weeks later, I'm still here. He's written a report that I'm ill because I'm threatening people. That is just have proof that it's not true. And he wasn't there when I had an exchange with the gentleman. Matt Lees wasn't there. The only witness was my mother, and she gave testimony that I didn't threaten anyone. So how is Matt Lees' report worth anything based on a disagreement that got me put in here when he wasn't there when the disagreement happened? What's his report worth? I tell you what it's worth. It's worth something because he's just abused me for 4 weeks with very personality splintering questions and abuse. He's got his report now and he's happy. He's done his job because the social club that is this facility just rolls on. When you walk in the door, as I said, I go back to the beginning now. When you walk in the door, you are labeled mentally ill. Every single step is put in place. From when you walk into the door until they drop a hearing on you, they drop you into a court hearing. From when you walk in the door and you drop into the court hearing, you are 100% labeled a mentally ill person. And all your complaints are not recorded, and all your speeches are not recorded, and every time you respond to them is not recorded. They just take you straight to the hearing with a report that you've never read, that they don't hand to you. That makes no sense. You walk in the door, you're automatically shafted as mentally ill, and therefore, by law, you cannot leave. By people who do not have the facts, that bombard you with questions that are assaulting your rights.